Hello, I'm Matt24, and today I'd like to show off what I've been over the last 2 and a bit days. I have been going through, seeing as the recently revealed what would the TV premise of what Transformers could have been. I thought it would be a fun challenge to challenge myself to design something along the lines of that myself. I gave myself 3 days to try and throw out the basic premise of a Transformers series. Right now I'm showing off Shredhead, who is one of the characters I designed. I also did names and whether they're male or female character, a little overview on each of the characters for the Autobots and the major ones for the Decepticons, though I did leave Seekers as a blank for the most part. But Shredhead here, who is the first one I've chosen to show off for whatever reason, I've decided for my version would be a lover of biological life who documents it all, and he may be a lover and rarely tries getting into violence, but he's a powerful bot and he's one of the strongest in the Autobot side, if not the strongest. We'll follow him up with Matuk, a paranoid bot who questions everything, but when push comes to shove, he trusts his allies. Now, Trailbreaker has gone over 2 designs, and he'll be next. I'll show his main design whilst giving that I've kind of stuck on for the moment. But Fatherly Bot, who cares deeply for everyone and takes charge in difficult moments. He'd be the leader. Of course, there are little facts about them, like he has buttons to change into his iconic gun hand, and instead of giving him his shoulder thing still, I've made them be able to be a camera, when Matic, of course, has dagger pouches, and Trailbreaker has a bird on him in this image and a pouch where he carries plant life. I have also done Skywarp as an Autobot. They're meant to be a sassy bot who hates following orders and sees herself as above her fellow Autobots. I know, a bit out there, but we also have Skater, who would be the Autobot medic in this situation, who also is the inventor, and would be in love with Skywarp, who is designed after, I think it's Energon or Cybertron RC from the Unicron trilogy. But yeah, when, of course, you can see the ancient cars. For the other Autobots, who I did not get around to getting a design done for in the time limit I gave myself, there is Hotshot, a young energetic bot who's a bit reckless and yet to learn about life. He'd take the role Bumblebee normally takes, because I feel like he should still be getting those roles when he doesn't. But there's also Sidetrack, who's a really fast Autobot, kind of taking the role of Blur, but he's constantly asleep like Armada Scavenger. Because, you can't have the most overpowered super speed character in everything. There has to be some downside to him. And then you have Blades, the last surviving flying Autobot that anyone's aware of. And he is terrible with directions. Of course, the only female Autobot is Skywarp in this draft, but it's an early draft. Now, the Decepticons, I only got around to designing one of them, and that is Demolisher. He has arm cannons to pay homage to the fact his fingers were cannons in the original, Armada design for him. He's given his, I think it's his classic colour scheme, or it's his Power Links colour scheme. I can never remember which way around they are, but I have tried to give him an homage to that in his colour scheme. And he has leg padding. Oh yeah, and Demolisher is a slow-witted bot who struggles to understand what's happening but can pack a mean punch few can withstand. Basically, the antithesis to Shredhead. Because you know what? His fellow Decepticons would be basically Armada Thrust, who is far smarter than his fellow Decepticons, and the leader of the Decepticons that would be shown here. Like how Trailbreaker's leading the Autobots that are shown. But he's very snide, and he is hated by everyone else, but no one else can quite outwit him to overthrow him. You also get Growl, a rage-filled bot who's still mad at Matuk for abandoning her in the middle of a battle. And of course, for the leader of the Seekers, we have Thundercracker, a noble, courageous warrior who follows a strict code of his own morals that he will never break, and he is loyal to a fault. He'll have a rotating cast of Seekers who join him around with unique personalities and unique characteristics, allowing for a much wider Decepticon cast. There are 2 female Decepticons, Growl and, Lancer. For anyone who remembers G1, Lancer was an Autobot in that. And Lancer is an old Decepticon tired of scouting out the planet, who knows the world far better than anyone else. They're basically the first person to end up on Earth, and of course, hence they're of major notice to this. Before I go into anything else, I should probably put out the concept of what's the story, where of course the planet Cybertron was hit by a massive war years ago, but the Decepticons were overwhelmed. They went into hiding. Now the Autobots are searching the galaxy for them. Rumours have it one of their leaders, Thrust, was on a backwater planet, Earth. So Trailbreaker was sent to lead a scouting team to Earth when an unnamed Seeker set off an environmental bomb on the moon, causing a galactic storm to trap them all on Earth. The Decepticons are hiding en masse all over Earth as humanity is aware something is up, but are oblivious to how dire this situation truly is and what is truly going on. I know it kind of puts limits the Autobots to just the small cast we have here, but I do believe I specify it's 10 Autobots somewhere. Oh yeah, I specify it's 10 on the episode concepts. 10 Autobots, meaning there would be room for more. And these 10 episodes would be enemy resurfaced, which would be basically the Autobots are sent by the current prime of Cybertron down to Earth to try and figure out the situation, but they get cut off. There's Jitterbot, which would be Matuk's fear cause him and Trailbreaker to get separated from the others during a mission, but ultimately they're able to persevere and Matuk and Trailbreaker become closer allies in the process. There is the Titanal Terror, where Demolisher gets airdropped into a jungle, and this is Shredhead's, basically where Shredhead has chosen to make his home, and yeah, they must be stopped. Him whilst protecting the wildlife, and Hotshot and Trailbreaker are with Shredhead in this defense. I did try illustrating kind of how it could look. I've done it in comic form because I don't know how to animate for the life of me. But yeah, you've got Demolisher absolutely demolishing Shredhead, and Shredhead being down almost out for the count there, which would be in the latter half, of course, of that. Then there's Flooded Flight, where a flood strikes a town due to Decepticon activity, and Skater and Shredhead must rush to solve the problem, while Trailbreaker, Matuk, and Hotshot work to stop Thrust and his plan behind this whole attack. To be followed up by Finders Keepers, where Skywarp and Sunrunner, a character who I didn't write a characteristic for, are awakened after the Autobots' failed attempt to arrive at Earth, and someone has to sadly sacrifice himself so Skywarp can get free of the Decepticons, causing Skywarp to lose trust in the Autobots. Of course, there is Vengeful Woman. This one is about Matuk and Skywarp going on a mission to rescue humans, but Skywarp's rage at the Decepticons leaves Matuk at Growl's mercy, being basically split between 2 storylines, one of Matuk having to try and survive his former companion Growl, who is enraged at him still, and Skywarp having to try and overcome their mass rage towards the Decepticons for killing Sunrunner. Of course, it's followed up by Taught by the Enemy, where Hotshot sneaks off to try and prove himself as the best Autobot. where he uncovers this mysterious character called Lancer, who helps him become a better bot, but she as moral and trustworthy as she claims, and can Trailbreaker save him in time? Of course. There is also Aimless Aerial Bot, where Blade is set off on a mission alongside Skater and Mattock, who are charged to keep track of him, but they swear he was just with him. And they lose him, and shenanigans are afoot as they have to try and find Blade, because who could trust him to get anywhere? Followed up by Self-Preservation Society. Skywarp gets mad at the Autobots, causing her to run off and Trailbreaker to send Skater after her. And yeah, will Skater stick with the Autobots, or will he stick with Skywarp? And will he be able to solve this problem? To then be followed up with The Lazy Hero. Thrust sets a trap that catches all the Autobots, and Sidetrack is the only one left to save the day. But he wants to nap. And can he really save the Autobots? To be followed up by a 3-parter called Demolisher Revived, where Demolisher, still destroyed after his fight last time with Shredhead, gets brought back by Thundercracker and the Seekers, more powerful than ever. And Shredhead uncovers this mystery alongside Blades, and they have to try and put a stop to this. But ultimately, they're being overwhelmed, and Shredhead has to hold the line as Thrust arrives with the rest of the Decepticons to back them up. And Blades is sent to find the other Autobots and hopefully bring backup to save Shredhead from destruction. Before finally, Demolisher, with too much power, gets out of hand, and no one's able to control him, and everyone has to work together to stop him. This 3-parter would probably be the end of the series, but I've just numbered them in order of when I've come up with the idea. So it's not the final one, because I had one more idea, which was Skater uses the gems at the mine that the Autobots have set their base up in to genetically produce power source gems. But is it controllable, and can the Autobots really use it? How dangerous are the gems at Burma Mines, really? Because yes, I have 4 kilocals decided as well. Camp Victory, where the Decepticons have set up a base on top of their ship, the Victory, which is the sister ship to the Nemesis. It's full of vibrant military vehicles, and no one there has a clue that they're really under the command of the Decepticon, because Growl is leading it with her hologram to disguise herself as a human. Followed by Burma Mine, the Autobot base, which is in a long abandoned mine where they crash landed their ship, and they're expanding their base out into it. If you know G1, this appears in the first 4 episodes, I think, maybe episode 3, I'd like to say. Then we have Bro Jungle, an ancient jungle teeming with life that is overlooked by most humans, causing it to be the favourite to the Autobots, especially Shredhead. This is basically, as far as the Decepticons know, this is the most likely place they'll find the Autobots. But yeah. And then finally, Farmingham, a town near the Autobot base, where the Decepticons cut it off from the rest of society. And basically, whenever they want to fight something or cause chaos, they go down to Farmingham and cause chaos there. So, I know this is not the best concept, but if you're interested by this concept, I think it'd be a fun idea to try and weekly do advancements towards the concept, and each week in the comments allow people to basically say how they think this could be improved. And yes, not a single character is an original character. Every character is a pre-existing one. Only appeared in G1. Very recent. It's reusing an old name and an old colour scheme, but it's an original character. It's a well-known character, and one of the original Autobots with a different colour scheme, but in pics, and of course Demolisher's Armada, plus Lancer's G1. Basically, everyone's just mostly G1 characters. But yeah, I think could be fun if people want to. Leave comments down below on how it could be better, and then weekly develop this until finally finding out what would be the best. Like, just see how a built up by like Transformers fans concept could be. But that's only if people have any real interaction with this. I don't know. It's just a fun idea I had. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. I've been Monster24, and this has been another video. Adios.